Parker Schnabel did what everyone thought was impossible. He dug the shaft in Yukon that people called the Road of Death. According to the old miners, that place was a frozen grave. Everyone said, "Nothing will be found there, and even if we find something, no one will survive." But Parker left the old way and took the help of technology. With drones, lidar, and laser scanning, he saw a map under the ground that no one had seen before, a hidden path which led straight to the treasure. And then the real game began. When the digging started, the gold started flowing, but then the ground started shaking. Something else opened from below, a mysterious tunnel which was pointing not just to gold, but to some scary truth. The machines stopped, sounds started echoing, and two workers suddenly disappeared. When they returned, they could not even speak anything. They just kept trembling. Now the question is, did Parker find gold worth $75 million? Or did he just uncover something that should never have been discovered? This isn't just a story of gold, it's a story of a hidden mystery. So make sure to watch the video, because what Parker has found is probably beyond human understanding. And yes, if you don't want to miss out on such mysterious and true stories, subscribe to the channel now. The Well of Death, the mysterious story of Widow's Cut. There is a place on the cold and desolate land of Yukon whose name makes old miners shudder, Widow's Cut. From the name itself, one can guess that this is not an ordinary place. There is a scary, almost ghostly story hidden behind this place. It is said that a big accident happened here years ago. An old mining team started digging here. Everything went well in the beginning, but as they went deeper, the machines started getting stuck. Strange sounds started being heard, and one day the entire digging site suddenly collapsed. Many people were buried alive in that accident. No one's body was found, no evidence was found, just a pit and a heavy silence over it. Since then, this place came to be known as Widow's Cut, because the wives of those workers became widows. The women kept crying, but no one dared to dig at that place again. Many times some people tried to go back, but either they lost their way or the machines failed. Some local people even say that something is hidden in that land. Some ancient secret, or maybe some cursed treasure. At night, light emerges from there and the ground itself shakes. This is what people say. But no one says anything for sure about its truth, because going there is considered inviting death. Parker Schnabel's stubbornness. I will definitely go there. Now, who will go to such a place? Perhaps no sensible person would even step in that direction. But Parker Schnabel is not an ordinary miner. He is that name in the world of Gold Rush, who surprised everyone by extracting gold worth millions of dollars at a young age. When Parker was told about Widow's Cut, everyone else refused him. The old people of the team said, "Brother, don't go there. That place is unlucky. Some of us went there and came back empty-handed. Some even fell sick with fear." But Parker heard that story and said just one line, "If everyone keeps fearing, the biggest treasure will never be found." He believed that the biggest gold is hidden where there is the most fear. Parker called his special team members and told everyone the plan. "We will start with laser scanning, then look under the ground with lidar, and if we find a way, we will start digging." Some of the team members were hesitant, but seeing the passion in Parker's eyes, no one could refuse. That man does not show off. When he says that he will find something, he really shows it by finding something. And that's it. Parker headed towards Widow's Cut with his trucks, machines, and high-tech equipment. People were trying to stop him on the way. An old miner even said, "Son, there is no gold buried there, but death." But Parker just smiled and replied, "Let's see whether we find death first or gold." The magic of laser and lidar technology. Now, Parker Schnabel is no traditional miner. He knows that in today's times, digging with hands alone will not yield treasure, especially when the ground itself has become an enemy. So this time, Parker did not come empty-handed. He had his secret weapon, laser mapping and lidar technology. Lidar means light detection and ranging. This is a technology that creates a map of the structure under the earth by sending laser beams. Imagine as if someone has removed the skin of the ground and every vein inside became clearly visible. Parker's team first flew drones in the entire Widow's Cut area, which were equipped with high-resolution lidar sensors. Then those drones started scanning the depth of the ground by throwing lasers all around. Slowly, a map started forming on the computer screen. First stones, then caves, and then something that no one had expected. The voice of an expert from the team came, "Boss, there is something here. It does not look natural." Parker looked at the screen, and there he saw some straight lines, a circular structure and a large empty space, which looked as if someone had deliberately built a room inside the ground. Now Parker was convinced something big was hidden here. And that too, not as if nature had made it, but as if some human or civilization had hidden it itself. A hidden path. As if someone had deliberately hidden it. In the map obtained from lidar mapping, one thing was most surprising. A long, thin line, which was going straight, then turned at one place, and finally stopped at a circular structure. This line was not a crack or fault line. It was a tunnel. Parker asked his team, "Is this natural?" The answer was, "Not a chance. Someone has made this path himself and has made it very thoughtfully." Now, imagine a path under the icy, desolate ground of Yukon that leads straight to a round room, and nobody ever found out about it? This was no small coincidence. This was a hidden treasure that someone had deliberately hidden in a place where no one would go again. Parker looked at the map and said softly, "This is not a mining tunnel. This is something else. Maybe an ancient vault." That circular structure was exactly like the one often heard in Templar legends or stories of ancient civilizations. No entry point, no light reflection, just a perfect seal, as if someone had closed it and made it disappear from the world. Now Parker was convinced this is not just a story of gold. This is the beginning of a hidden secret, and he could not stop himself. He said, "The digging will start from here. Whatever happens, now we will not back down." And it was at this juncture that the ground of Widow's Cut began to tremble, as if it too knew that whatever was inside was very old, very precious, and perhaps very dangerous too. The digging begins, and the first glint of gold Parker Schnabel's team was now all set. The pursuit of the tunnel and circular structure that had been seen in lidar mapping had now begun. Heavy machinery, trucks, drills, and all the digging equipment were deployed on the silent ground of Widow's Cut. There was a strange tiredness in the air, neither cold nor hot, as if the ground itself knew that its secret was about to be revealed. Parker signaled his team, and the digging began. In the beginning, only black stones and soil came out. Nothing special happened for a few hours, but then, suddenly, something shining like sunlight was seen at one point of the digging. A member of the team picked up something from the ground, a shiny piece of metal. Parker cleaned the soil from it, and what was seen was a gold flake. Absolutely real, very shiny, and so pure that its shine dazzled the eyes. A sparkle came in Parker's eyes. He shouted, "We are in the right place." Suddenly, there was a wave of enthusiasm in the entire team. People increased the speed of digging. As the soil was removed, small pieces of gold, shiny lines, and sometimes vein-like lines of gold buried under the stone started appearing. But then, something strange started happening. As they went deeper, the atmosphere started changing. A strange, heavy silence had spread. The air had stopped. Parker himself said later in an interview, "It seemed as if someone was watching us, as if someone was keeping an eye on every step." Machines shut down, and strange sounds in the air. Now, when the digging started reaching the part of the ground that looked like a circular vault on the map, the machines started behaving strangely. The excavators suddenly stopped on their own. There was no wiring issue, no fuel problem. It was just as if the machines were being blocked by some invisible force. The cameras that were continuously recording the footage started blacking out one by one. Nothing was visible on the screen. It seemed as if someone was deliberately shutting down those cameras. Parker asked the tech team to check the system. "Is someone jamming the signal?" The answer was, "Nothing seems wrong, but the cameras are still shutting down." And then, that silence was broken by a strange sound, as if a person wearing heavy boots was walking on the soil, inside, in the tunnel, where no one had gone yet. A member of the team quickly took off his helmet and said, "Did you also hear that?" And 3 or 4 people nodded in unison in response. Parker was silent, but his face said it all. He knew that something was wrong here, but the stubborn miner inside him was saying, "If you get scared, you will never find the truth." The team was brought back under control. Attempts were made to turn the cameras on again, but the sounds from that tunnel just did not stop. Sometimes they would become louder, sometimes very soft, as if someone was mumbling something at great depth. Now the question was, had Parker and his team gone just to extract gold, or had they awakened something else? Teams fear, "We can't stay here." As the excavations got closer to the mysterious tunnel, Parker Schnabel's team grew increasingly restless. Everything seemed normal during the day, but as night fell, the atmosphere became strangely suffocating. The incidents that happened during the excavations, machines shutting down, cameras failing one by one, and the mysterious footsteps were no longer a joke. Experienced crew members who had worked in mines all their lives were now waking up startled at night. Some told Parker directly, "Sir, this time something is different. This doesn't seem like a mining site. There is some invisible force here that doesn't want us to stay here." An engineer fearfully told that when he was alone checking the lighting setup, he heard someone walking from behind, but when he turned around, there was no one. The situation became so tense that some people started keeping their distance from the excavations without being told. Parker called a meeting, calmed everyone down, and said one thing clearly: "If we retreat out of fear, the world will never know the truth about what is hidden here. If someone wants to leave, he can, but I will not retreat." There was confidence in his words, but a slight nervousness was also clearly visible in his eyes, which he did not want to show to anyone. But the truth was that the entire team was now uncomfortable, and everyone knew that whatever would happen next, It would not be normal now. 2 workers disappeared, and their mysterious return. In the midst of that fear-filled atmosphere one night, something happened that shook the entire team. 2 workers of the team, who normally used to keep watch around the site to check the generator and tools at night, suddenly disappeared. At around 2:30 in the night, when the rest of the team saw that both of them were not in their tent, there was a commotion. A call was made on the radio. An attempt was made to contact through walkie-talkie, but there was no response. Some people thought that they might have gone towards Lot 7, but nothing was found there either. The search operation continued for 4 hours, and as the morning approached, worry turned into fear. Parker himself went around the entire site with a lamp, but there was no trace of the 2. But a few minutes after sunrise the next morning, both the workers suddenly appeared outside the main camp. Dirty, covered in mud, with scratches on their faces and an emptiness in their eyes that could only come from a deep shock. The entire team ran to them, but none of them was speaking anything. One of them did not even lift his head. He just stood staring at the ground, as if he had returned from another world. The medical team examined them. There were no major injuries on their bodies, but their mental state was completely shaken. When Parker asked, "Where were you?" one of them said very softly, "We were down there." But the one who was there was not a human being, and then became completely silent. After that day, the 2 never spoke to anyone, nor returned to the mining site. They were quietly sent out of the Yukon, and Parker's team realized they were no longer dealing with an ordinary mine. They were standing in front of a secret that was perhaps not meant for humans. Second shaft and the mystery inside it. As Parker Schnabel and his team reached the depth of the first shaft, they found something else there. Another passage, which was even deeper and narrower than the first one. At first, everyone thought that it was just a crack or a natural tunnel, but as the team started clearing its entry point, it became very clear that this passage looked like it was made by humans. The walls were straight, the stones were cut neatly, and the entry gate was like a circular arch. Such constructions are not natural. It seemed as if someone had deliberately hidden it very carefully, so that no one could reach it easily. Parker stood there watching everything, and then he said softly, "This is old, very old. Perhaps it is even older than the mine." An expert of the team also repeated the same thing. "It looks like some ancient architecture, part of some old civilization." The air coming from inside that second shaft was also strange, cold, heavy, and smelly. It seemed as if some place was closed for centuries, and now it was opening for the first time. The digging did not stop. Rather, Parker's focus was now completely focused on this new path. The team was given clear instructions. Now we will move in that direction. Whatever is there is hidden across this path. And then began that journey inside that shaft, which was going to reveal layers of a new secret. Strange marks on the stones. Is this a sign of Templar? As soon as Parker's team started digging further in that deep shaft, the first shock came to them when strange engraved marks were seen on a wall. These were not scratches or digging marks, but were clear carvings, as if someone had carved them very precisely with a hammer and chisel. At first, the team thought that these must be some old mining marks. But when they took pictures of these marks and sent them to some historians on the internet, the answer that came surprised everyone. These marks looked like Templar cross, the same mysterious marks that are associated in history with a secret order, i.e. Knights Templar. These are the same Templars who have been said for centuries to have hidden and buried huge treasures and religious relics in different parts of the world. And now, in a place like this, under the icy ground of Yukon, finding such a mark cannot be just a coincidence. Parker himself was surprised. He said, "If this is really a symbol of Templar, then the value of what we can find here cannot be measured in just money." Some of the team members seemed even more scared after seeing that place, because the things related to such secret societies are usually not limited to just treasures, but some warnings, curses, or ancient protections are also associated with them. There were some other symbols engraved along the wall, which someone had carved in a fixed pattern, as if they were hiding something or giving some signal. Some even suggested that these markings were made to deter anyone, a kind of warning, "Don't go any further." But for Parker, this was no deterrent. It was just more proof that he was close to finding something big. And then the digging went deeper. Now not just for gold, but for a truth that had been buried for centuries and perhaps hidden from the world. A first look inside the vault, and a golden throne. When Parker Schnabel and his team finished digging that second shaft, they were met with a sight that left everyone stunned. After removing the soil and stones, a circular room opened up, exactly like the one shown in the lidar mapping. But the real surprise was what was placed in the middle of that room, a throne, and that too made entirely of gold. It was not just a structure, but a real, heavy, and finely carved golden throne, on which symbols were engraved in intricate designs, some like old Latin letters, some like cross-like shapes, and some that no one could understand. As soon as Parker stepped into that room, he felt the air inside was heavy and still. There was no sound, no movement, but still, it seemed as if someone was watching them. There was a slight dampness on the walls of the room, and besides the dust on the floor, there were some stone figures like statues of guards or sentinels whose faces were towards the throne. No one from the team dared to touch the throne. Parker himself stood in a corner for a few minutes and just kept looking at it. Then he said, "This is not the throne of any king. This is the throne of some guardian, perhaps the one who maintained this place." There was an atmosphere there that is difficult to explain in words, an unspoken fear, a silence that felt like a warning. Discovery Team's silence, edited footage and blackout. Now even whatever footage was being recorded, all of it was with the Discovery Channel team. As the excavation was progressing and the throne room came into view, cameras were shooting from every angle. Parker and the rest of the crew were also thinking that this would be the most explosive and historical part of the show. But what happened surprised everyone. When the new episode of Discovery was telecast on TV, the scene inside the vault was completely cut. Everything was shown up to the point where the shaft opens. But as the team enters, the screen goes black, and the next scene shows Parker standing outside with a confused and scared expression on his face. Viewers, who had been waiting for this episode for weeks, thought that there might be a technical glitch. But when some leaked screenshots and raw footage snippets surfaced on the internet, the truth came out. There were some seconds in that raw footage that were never shown on TV, in which faint shadows were seen moving inside the vault, and the camera frame suddenly freezes. Some clips were so blurry that it was not possible to understand what was going on in them, but the faint sounds coming in them sounded like some ancient language. And the scary thing was that these clips were not leaked by any team member himself, but were uploaded anonymously on social media. When Parker was asked about this in an interview, he flatly refused to say anything. He just said, "There are some things that are not meant for the camera, and there are some places that should not be exposed." Reddit and online theories. This is not human work. As soon as Discovery Channel edited and telecasted the inside of the vault, a new stir started on the internet. A thread went viral on Reddit, where people started analyzing the leaked footage of the blacked-out scene, frame by frame. Some tech experts zoomed in on the video to increase its contrast, brightness, and sharpness, and what came out surprised everyone. The structure that was seen inside the vault did not look like any normal human construction. It was neither like a tunnel nor like an old treasure room. It looked tangled, with countless edges and quite unnatural in shape, as if someone had created that thing with some alien language or science, and not with a hammer and chisel. A Reddit user claimed that he saw hexagonal patterns in that structure, which show a hive-like structure, and that design has never been found in human civilization. Another user, who was himself an archaeology student, posted, "I have seen hundreds of ancient ruins so far, but what is in this video, I have not read it in any book." Some people even said that something like magnetic interference was seen in the structure of that vault. That is, the blackout of the camera and the frequent shutdown of the machines could be due to that structure. An independent researcher uploaded a 20-minute detailed breakdown video on YouTube, in which he clearly said, "This is not human, period." Slowly, theories started forming online. Some said that it was built by ancient aliens. Some started linking it to underground civilization. And the silence of Parker's team gave more air to these theories. Yukon government's intervention, the site, was sealed. While on one hand, people on the internet were talking strange things about that structure. The local government of Yukon did something that made the whole story even more mysterious. Just a few days after the excavation ended, Parker Schnabel's excavation site was suddenly sealed off. A team of Yukon authorities arrived, the entire area was cordoned off, and no outsiders were allowed in. Even Discovery's filming team was kept out. No official reason was given. Just a brief statement that the site is being temporarily closed due to geological instability. But people who were present at the site reported that government vehicles, armed security, and some people who usually do not visit excavation sites had arrived there. There was a strange silence in the entire area, as if something big had happened, and now it is being hidden. Some people believe that the government had discovered that there was not just gold, but a secret hidden there that should not be revealed to the world. And so, the site was sealed and full control was taken. Another theory that went viral on Reddit was that Parker and his team were made to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, to prevent them from sharing any information about this in public. And since the site has been shut down, there have been no new updates, neither from Discovery, nor from Parker, nor from the Yukon government.